Scooby-Doo, the Thanksgiving Mystery. Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and the gang were getting ready for their Thanksgiving dinner. "First things first," Velma said. "We have to get food." Yeah," Shaggy agreed. "So what are we doing here?" "We're getting fresh vegetables from the farm," Daphne said. "Rev-a-row!" Scooby made a face. "Come on, good buddy," Shaggy whispered. "Maybe there's a pizza place close by." Excited, Fred, Daphne, and Velma jumped out of the mystery machine. Shaggy and Scooby moved slowly, until... "Hey, look," Shaggy moaned. "A pumpkin eating contest." "That sounds like fun," Velma said. "But the contest is on the other side of the farm," Daphne added. "Down that big hill past the pumpkin patch and vegetable garden." "Let's pick our vegetables first," said Fred. Fred, Velma, and Daphne looked at the lettuce and squash. "Let's get a move on it," Shaggy grumbled. "We're doing this for 5 minutes already." Finally, Shaggy nudged Velma. "Ah!" he screamed. "Roar!" screamed Scooby. Velma had disappeared, and in her place was a spooky pumpkin monster. "Velma!" cried Shaggy. "What's happened to you?" The pumpkin head did not answer. It reached out one stiff arm. "Shaggy, grab Scooby! Scooby, grab Shaggy! Rope!" cried Scooby. "Help is right," said Shaggy. They raced over to Fred. But Fred was gone. He turned into a pumpkin head too, just like Velma. Shaggy yelled. "Raffy!" Scooby yelped, but Daphne had changed into a pumpkin head too. The pumpkin heads swayed closer, their arms stretched out towards Shaggy and Scooby, twisting and reaching. Scooby and Shaggy ran, vines wrapped around their arms, garden hoses around their legs. "Zoinks!" cried Shaggy. "Everyone's alive!" Finally, the two friends tripped right into the pumpkin patch. In a flash, they leaped to their feet. "What's happening?" Shaggy groaned, confused. His voice sounded strange, hollow. Then he looked at Scooby and he screamed. Scooby pointed to Shaggy and howled. They turned into pumpkin heads. The buddies tumbled and stumbled and they rolled down the hill. "Farmhouse, here we come," called Shaggy. Crash! They landed on a long table. From opposite ends they slid across on top of it. Splat! They stopped. Scooby and Shaggy were scared. They were frightened. They were hungry. They gulped down pie after pie after pie. At last, they staggered to their feet. "We've got an audience, Scoob, old pal," said Shaggy. "Raffy, Rama, Red, and Scooby," said Scooby. "You've been turned back into humans," said Shaggy. "1 minute you guys are standing by the vegetables," Shaggy explained. And the next minute, horrible pumpkinhead monsters were there instead. Velma laughed. Those pumpkinheads were always there. Velma went on, you just didn't see them because Fred, Daphne, and I were standing in front of them. Farmer Green needed us to judge the pie-eating contest, so we had to leave the vegetable patch right away. There's no time to explain until now. It must have seemed like we disappeared, said Daphne, and that pumpkinheads took our place. But they were reaching for us, Shaggy protested. Velma shook her head. It's very windy today. The wind must have moved the pumpkinheads. What about the vines and the hoses? Asked Shaggy. They tried to grab us too. Velma sighed. You ran so fast you were tripping, she said. It was all your imagination, guys. Oh yeah? Shaggy asked again. He knocked on his pumpkin head. Like, is this my imagination too? Fred pulled the pumpkin off of Shaggy. You must have fallen, said Velma, right into the jack-o'-lanterns. Yeah, said Shaggy. Now that they thought about it, Scooby did take a nasty tumble into the pumpkin patch. Thanks and all, he continued, but who won the pie-eating contest? You guys did, of course, said Daphne, and here comes the prize. All at once, Scooby's eyes widened. In fear, Shaggy turned pale. It's another pumpkin head! Monster, for real, Shaggy yelled. He and Scooby ran as fast as they could. Wait, Daphne called after them. It's only Farmer Green. He's holding your prize, a giant pumpkin. Shaggy and Scooby were already down the road, running across the street, around the corner, and right into the pizza stand. Finally, said Shaggy, Thanksgiving dinner. Robbie Ray Regan!